welcome once again to another episode of the Love Approach Project podcast. Today I am in Melbourne, still, and I'm with a wonderful practitioner. Her name is Sonya Edmunds, and Sonya is actually a clinical aromatherapist. She's also a registered nurse and a certified infant and pregnancy massage.
And a midwife.
And a midwife, yes. Oh my goodness, so many certifications. She's very experienced and very passionate about her topic. And so today we're going to be talking about the healing power of aromatherapy. Welcome, Sonya.
Thank you very much. Lovely to be here.
Awesome. Well, Sonya, let's begin with a little bit about you, about your story. How you got into aromatherapy? Like, why are you so passionate about it, and how it has helped you?
Okay. So my journey into aromatherapy began about 20 years ago,
Wow.
I guess. Yeah, quite a long time ago. And it was when I first moved to Melbourne. I'd been travelling and moved here. And I ended up at a friend's house at an aromatherapy party. They were sort of introducing us to some different essential oils and blends and different things. And I did buy a few oils. At that time I was working a lot of shift work, as nurses and midwives do, a lot of night duty. So I chose some oils that perhaps would help me with sleep and help my mood, recovering from shift work and things like that. And surprisingly to me, as a nurse back then, they actually really helped. So I was thought, oh, there's got to be something in this.
You were hooked.
I was hooked. Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
And around the same time, my mum also had an infection in her arm, an MRSA infection. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's a methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. It's an infection, hospital-borne infection that's very difficult to treat.
Wow.
And I'd heard a lot about this back in my nursing days, of course.
Yeah.
And around that time, tea tree oil was sort of making an appearance, and they were doing a bit of research on that for antibacterial and anti-infectious, properties that it may have and things like that. So I started looking into that as well, and found lots of great information. So from there I went on to study. I thought, oh, there's something in this, and and I was keen to learn some different ways, some more natural ways of helping, my patients and my family and my friends. Yeah. So I did my certificate in aromatherapy, and then went on to do a diploma in aromatherapy and massage.
Fantastic.
And I learned a lot. Yeah, there's two different sorts of teachers. I think my first teacher was more, and at that stage I was sort of more looking at physical properties and the chemistry and things like that, with all the science with my nursing background, and that was really great. And the next teacher I had was I was sort of, I guess, introduced to more of the esoteric world as well, of essential oils and how they could really help with more on an energetic level. As well as a physical level. So
fantastic. So you had
that was great.
There's kind of like the two sides of
yes.
it.
Yeah, the yin and the yang or something of the aromatherapy world. So I felt I had a really good basis, and I mean I was still nursing at the time, but I went on to essential oils and aromatherapy have become part of my everyday life really, and I think I've had 2 children, and they've seen me through, pregnancies and birth and childhood illnesses, other illnesses, stress and anxiety and grief, and lots of, they're sort of at our side. They're our first port of call for anything, any ailments or,
I love that. I love to hear that, because that's, I guess, and I have to say that this is one of the reasons why I'm so interested in interviewing you today, because I do believe that the closer we get to nature by using all these natural remedies, the easier it's going to be for us to heal.
So true.
And to return to that harmony.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. The harmony. Yes.
Awesome. Well, so let's explain to our listeners what aromatherapy really is and how it works. Shall we? Yeah.
Okay. So it's very difficult to define. I think over the years, aromatherapists have sought to try and find better definitions or better terms perhaps to describe an aromatherapist and what they do, because aromatherapy, I guess it implies a therapy using aromas, so using smell, which it kind of is. It's nothing wrong with a pleasant smell. I mean, one definition is the therapy of blending essential oils for therapeutic use or sheer pleasure. So, I guess as an aromatherapist, we sort of lean more towards using them for therapeutic use.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with the sheer pleasure of it either. Just smelling something wonderful that makes you feel good. That is a therapy. It's is actually having an impact on your body. When we smell something, the essential molecules go through our olfactory receptors in our nose and go directly to our brain. It's a direct link. It's quite, smell is our most primitive sense, and it can have a really profound effect on our mood and our behaviours and concentration, appetite, things like that. So, just a whiff of something nice or something that feels right for you can be great. Yeah.
Okay.
But so it is difficult to define. What is aromatherapy? That is one way it works. There are other interfaces that we use essential oils through massage. They can be absorbed through the skin into the bloodstream.
Yeah.
Through the lungs into the bloodstream. And have an impact in that way as well.
Okay, so I assume that basically in aromatherapy you're working with the properties of the plants or...
Exactly, yes. So as an aromatherapist we do quite a bit of chemistry and things, and so we do look at the chemical makeup of the oil, and that will give us some clues as to the therapeutic use for that oil and how it will benefit somebody. Yeah.
Fantastic. Could you give us an example of like the chemistry of some?
Let me think. Let's say eucalyptus for one. So it has a high proportion of a constituent called 1,8-cineol, which is a really good expectorant. So if you've got a cold and you need to, a mucolytic if you need to cough. It has good anti-infectious properties and things like that. But then having said that, that is a constituent that you may need to be a little bit careful with for some people. So, so it is important to know, as an aromatherapist, using oils therapeutically, you need to know what's actually in the oils.
Of course, it goes way beyond just buying an essential oil and
yes, that's right. Yes.
and just using it. Awesome. So someone could basically use aromatherapy at home themselves or see a practitioner.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, you can. With a little bit of education, you can use essential oils therapeutically at home. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with just you like a smell that makes you feel relaxed and calm. That's great. That's wonderful. There are safety measures for some essential oils. There are certain groups of people, I guess, that you need to be especially careful of with using essential oils. So, babies, of course, and young children, during pregnancy, the elderly as well, you need to be careful. Anyone who's got any sort of chronic disease or on, medication, things like that. In those instances, it's best that someone would consult with an aromatherapist, and
of course.
We would take a full history and, we look at sort of lifestyle measures and, allergies and sensitivities and lots of things, and then sort of pull together what's most beneficial for that person.
So basically when someone sees an aromatherapist, you would basically design a unique blend for them, right?
Yes.
Or a treatment for them.
Exactly, yes. And it's one of the great things about aromatherapy is it is very holistic, so it treats on so many levels. So someone might come in who's got a headache, and you want to think, well, why the headache? Is it stress? Is it muscular tension? Is it sinusitis? And so there's not it's not always this oil's good for this and that oil's good for that. Often sort of delve a bit deeper and find out why somebody's experiencing those symptoms, get a more appropriate essential oil or blend that would work for them. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. And so talking about that, how does aromatherapy help people who are going through a period of stress or who have been experiencing anxiety for a while or overwhelm, burnout? How does it work there?
So, I mean, that would be one of the big things, I think, just about nearly, a lot of clients I see, as probably most practitioners these days, stress would be top priority, dealing with stress and emotional upset would be one of the top priorities. In kids as well, I'm finding more and more so, and younger and younger. Yeah. I get great feedback from people who find essential oils do really help, and for me personally and in my family life, I've found they help. I think what it does is, well, on different levels, I guess. One thing I think is if you have a particular blend or an essential oil that does seem to calm and relax you, and some oils do have those properties, then if you're starting to feel stressed and anxious, you can reach for your little blend. Often we'll make up these little aroma inhaler things that people can have with them, and they can just take the lid off and they can just smell it, take a few deep breaths, and I think you can just nip it in the bud a little bit, so you're starting to feel anxious and upset, but you take that minute out, take a few deep breaths of your oil, and it can just sort of deepen your breathing, calm you down, and then sort of help you move on. And I think sort of people often say it will just stop them from sort of moving on to that next level of anxiety.
Yes, of getting worse.
Yes.
And does it help also reducing, just like going back to neutral or
That's
base?
right, ground, there's some essentials that are really great sort of grounding essential oils, take you out of that monkey mind, take you out of your head and ground you back down to earth. Helping to sleep. I think, often people who are stressed and anxious aren't sleeping well. Yeah. Sleep is a big topic, I think, at the moment. I've been listening to a few things by Dr. Matthew Walker, who's a sleep doctor. So he's got a few podcasts, and I think, if everybody just slept a little bit better,
yes,
it would, a lot of our health issues, both physical and mental, would benefit from better sleep. Yeah. And so there are essential oils that are sedative, and once again, sort of grounding, sort of can help sort of put you in that more meditative state. If people are doing meditation, that sort of thing, to just sort of help,
so
you down.
So you can accompany other things such as meditation, or let's say yoga, or other practices, right? So it can be used in conjunction.
That's right. It can be great for that. Yes. And I use them a lot in that way with women as they approach birth. Actually, having a special blend that they can use to, for their meditation or their hypnobirthing or their relaxation exercises, and they can sort of use that blend, pre-birth while they're pregnant, and then when they're during labour and birth, they smell that same blend, and it creates an anchor, aromatic anchor, so then they go back to that state, and it's much easier to calm back down and focus and
they remember.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So basically, essential oils are really working with our nervous system.
Yes, and I think that's a big thing for what you mentioned, the anxiety and stress, and harmonising, where it can really help.
Yeah. And it's something that you can bring with you all everywhere.
That's right. Yeah. Simple and easy and portable, and yes.
So what would be your top essential oils, and obviously taking into account that they might not be for everybody. Yeah. But for treating stress and anxiety.
I think some of the top essential oils, I think that what I include a lot of my blends would be, lavender would be one. Most people, not everybody, but most people sort of like lavender, and they're sort of drawn towards that. Some calming citrus oils like mandarin and sweet orange are really good. They help take the load off, just lighten the load and sort of, lighten the mood.
Uplift you
a little bit. Frankincense is a great one. Helps to deepen the breath, slow things down.
I love frankincense.
Yes, a lot of people do.
One of my favourites.
One of my all-time favourite essential oils, which not everybody's heard of is called Fragonia. It's from Western Australia. Beautiful company called Paperbark grow and produce this oil. And it's in the aromatherapy world, it is quite amazing when it was first discovered, and they looked at the chemical constituents of the oil. It was very balanced. It sort of made up this triad of different groups of chemical constituents, and you very rarely see this in the essential oil world.
Wow.
So everyone, like we had, the French aromatherapy gurus, all these people were sort of all so excited about it. Oh, this is just, very unique, it's very amazing. And it is an amazing oil. I found it really incredible for stress and anxiety and just that balance. So like it's balanced in its chemical makeup, it helps people to just balance, their central nervous system, that, whether they're sort of up or down, anxious, depressed, feeling flat, or, overstimulated. I just find it brings that balance. So,
Could we say it helps homeostasis then?
Yes, I think so. And I think, it's relatively new in the aromatherapy essential oil world.
Yeah.
But it's, I think the experience that people have had with it does show that.
Now, how can we, as people that we haven't studied aromatherapy, go and choose an oil? What do we need to take into account?
Okay.
How to know the quality and all of that?
Yes. It is important to make sure that you do have good quality essential oils. Unfortunately, some essential oils are adulterated or modified. Especially the more expensive essential oils, they'll string them out with something that's a bit cheaper, and so you do need to be careful to know what you're looking for. But the most basic things to look for are that they should firstly come in an amber or an opaque coloured glass bottle, fitted with a dripper and a lid on the top.
Okay.
It should state somewhere on the label that it is pure essential oil or 100% essential oil.
Okay.
And it should have the Latin or the botanical name with it, as well as the more common name. So, for example, lavender. So there's many different types of lavender.
Yeah.
So it's the Lavandula angustifolia is the true, what we can call is the true lavender, which is the calming lavender, and the one that most sort of people would use. But there are some other lavenders, some spike lavenders and lavandins, and they're slightly different, so they'll have different botanical names under them. So that's another thing to look for. Yeah. And you may also find out what country the oil's from, and things like that. But the best thing is to know the supplier, and look for recommended suppliers. So you can always ask an aromatherapist. I usually give people, I have a list of suppliers, that I know are, their quality, and we can recommend them, and then people can sort of choose where to go. And it's difficult to you can't really sort of recommend one particular company or anything, but there are certain things that you can look for.
And that is really good to know, I think, because from what I've seen, like people just go into a shop and they're like, okay, I'll just buy this oil, and they end up putting in the bath, and they didn't even know what they had, what that oil was diluted with or mixed with, or
that's right. So the other thing is essentials will all be different prices. So there's fragrant oils are often the $2 bargain shop, they're kind of all the same price. Whereas an essential oil, they'll range from $10 to hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So that will also give you a clue that there should be quality true essential oils.
It will be more pricey.
Yes.
But you're paying for quality, basically.
Exactly. Yes.
Interesting. Thank you so much for mentioning that. Are there, and I know you talked just earlier about like some people that need to be careful with some oils, but are there any other oils that people maybe should have or should be aware of not overusing?
It does. It does depend on the person that you're using it for. There certainly are some essential oils that are not actually used in the aromatherapy world in a therapeutic sense. most of those essentials you should not find on shelves really available. I mean, our safety manual is very thick. There's a guy called Robert Tisserin in the States. He's an amazing guy. He's like our safety guru when it comes to essential oils. And so he has a big manual on, you know, what's safe for this and what's not safe for that. So, for example, with pregnancy, you know, I need to, in my work, I need to be aware of, you know, what oils are safe and what aren't. Mostly, really, the safety comes down to the dose and how you're using the oil.
Okay.
So, you know, there's a saying, you know, the dose is the poison. So, you know, like water is safe, but you drink too much of it, and actually it can really upset your electrolytes, and it could become poisonous. So,
thank you for sharing
does
that.
that answer that?
Yes, I think it's important for everybody to know that. Yes, especially because nowadays we can find essential oils everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
yes.
it is
yes.
good to know what's best, what are the best practices,
Yeah.
dosages, and dosage, and all of that. Yeah.
So best practices as well, I should just quickly mention
Yes.
is as far as application. So you know, inhaling and that sort of thing,
Yeah.
but using them in the bath, they need to be diluted before. The essential oils do not mix in water. I have this conversation millions of times every year. So they need to be diluted in something like an oil or a dispersant before putting them in the bath. You might only be putting one drop in a big bath full, but it will just sit on the surface of the water, and then it can
that's it.
impact. Yeah. And same with, you know, massage, you know, usually use lower dilutions. If you're doing a full massage, full body, you use something much lower. If you were just treating a spot of muscular tension or something immediate, then you could use higher doses. And we never take them internally.
Okay.
It's not a practice. It's not commonly practiced in Australia, especially. And if you were to, you would be seeking the advice of a aromatic medicine practitioner, so someone who's done lots of extra study on how that essential oil is going to impact internally and be, you know, metabolized and excreted and you know, impact on medications being taken and things like that. So
very good to know.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Sonia. I think that's.
I always have to give a little safety spiel.
No, I think it's actually
It's
great
important.
because we perhaps lack a little bit of education around all of that, and it's good to have someone like you know, who's very passionate, who has done all the studying.
Yes.
To inform all of us, you know.
That's right.
So that's awesome. Awesome. If it would be possible for you to share with us like a homemade recipe or a blend that we could buy or something like that, so for people to start using at home.
Okay. I guess seeing as we're talking about, you know, stress and harmony and things like that, I think a really good blend for that and for perhaps helping to wind down and sleep at night is lavender and mandarin for sure, like a true lavender and mandarin. For children, often I'll add some Roman chamomile.
Oh, beautiful.
Which is a lovely oil. You don't need so much. You probably need perhaps one drop of the Roman chamomile and, you know, 2 or 3 drops of the lavender and the mandarin, and either in a diffuser or you know, mixing that into about sort of 20 mils of almond oil or vegetable oil and using it in a little massage, or putting a few drops in the bath. Drops that have been diluted in the oil in the bath.
Yes.
So and then I think for adults, sort of similar, like lavender, mandarin. I love, like I mentioned, the frankincense, or oils like sandalwood or cedarwood, those patchouli, those sort of more earthy, woody oils are really good for sort of grounding and calming, and
coming back to our bodies.
And that's my favourite is sandalwood, lavender and mandarin, and I use that in a bath at night before bed, or
that sounds really nice.
Yes. If people don't have diffusers, and you don't need all the fancy, there's a lot of amazing expensive vaporizers and diffusers around, but that's not necessary. Like a couple of drops on a tissue is enough often. Tuck it into your bra, or your clothes, kids put it in their pocket, or just tuck it under your pillow, under your pillowcase, and you can use it that way as well.
I love the sound of that.
It's nice to keep it simple sometimes.
Yes. So handy.
Not need all the gadgets and
Sometimes we get too complicated.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Oh,
yes,
beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what are, like in general, the main benefits, or that, in your opinion, the main benefits of aromatherapy for all of us?
Well, I think definitely the de-stress and helping with mood balance, things like that. Great for colds and coughs, like really great for things like that. I think they really benefit in that way because they can reduce the severity of the symptoms and the duration of an illness, and hopefully prevent it from going to the next level. So you've got a cold, hopefully, and I have found this in my work and a lot of clients' feedback that it will stop it going on to like full-blown tonsillitis or a chest infection or something like that. So they can be great for that. They're also great for skin conditions, in which case often it is heating, treating, mentally as well as, a lot of skin conditions are often related to other things that are going on. So, de-stressing someone as well as, healing eczema and dermatitis and psoriasis and things like that.
It's working on all the layers: body, mind, emotions.
Exactly.
Spirit.
Yeah. What else? Wound healing. Essentials are great and for wound healing. And aromatherapy also can encompass using things like hydrosols, floral waters, macerated infused oils like calendula and arnica oils and things like that.
Beautiful.
So, we use, it's not just the essential oils, it's all those other facets of aromatherapy that come together as well. How many have I done?
Well, I think enough. I mean, we could keep talking because I guess, there's so many layers and layers of the benefits of plant medicine, basically.
There is.
Yeah.
And it's, and I probably could talk all day about aromatherapy. It is my passion and
I think, and this question just came into my mind because I know you work with moms to be, and what would be something really nice for, I'm just thinking of both moms and dads that have newborns or young children, because one of the things that I've noticed in my work, and I'm surrounded by friends who have toddlers, and is that they have a work life that can be stressful, and then they come home and it's even more stressful because they don't know how to work with all of that. Yes.
You mean that would be fine for the parents and the children?
Perhaps something that people could diffuse in their homes and keep it harmonious.
Keep it harmonious. I mean, Fregonia is a good one that I mentioned. It's because it is also good for colds and coughs and things like that, and that's kind of pretty constant when you've got little toddlers. So that can be working on those levels.
Yes, and how do you spell that?
Sorry, Fragonia.
Fantastic.
So the botanical name is Agonis fragrans.
Great.
Lovely oil.
Thank you.
There's actually lots of new Australian essential oils that are making their way.
This is a beautiful land.
Which is beautiful. Yeah. I think that's a good one. Another one I love with children and families is called Rosalina, another Australian oil. It's actually like a sweet tea tree. It smells a little bit nicer than tea tree, but it's once again it's very calming and sedative, but as well as having those other benefits as well. And any citrus oils. I mean, most people love citrus oils. I think don't see too many people who don't. Every now and then I might see someone with an allergy or something. But orange and lime and lemon and mandarin, they're all lovely as well to have in a diffuser, because they also work as great air antiseptics as well as just calming the mood.
That is fantastic. Because it works on all and different levels.
Yes.
Beautiful. Well, Sonia, I think we've covered a few different things, and I'm very grateful for all the information and wisdom you've shared.
Pleasure. I hope it helps somebody.
Sometime.
Yes,
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. But before we finish, I would love to ask you, how do you approach life with love? Because that's the customary question in this podcast.
I think how I approach life with love is mainly through connection, I think, with connection with loved ones, like family and friends.
Yeah.
And I think in this day and age, everything's so fast paced, and we're all connected, but we're not really connected. It gets harder and harder to maintain that connection, and I think we're finding this. My daughters are teenagers, and life's busy, but it's a different busy to when they were little. We're not physically close to each other as often because everyone's got commitments and different times and later at night. So you really have to schedule in family time and make sure it happens, and a quick snuggle and a massage here and there, or something to get that. And I think connection with myself as well. So I often say to people about finding little pockets of time, in your busy life, because you're never going to get to the end of that to-do list. People say, I'll just wait till I get to the end and then I'll relax, and the list just keeps growing.
That will never come.
It never comes.
Exactly.
It never comes. So it's funny because I started talking to clients about this, and then I thought, oh, that's what I should do. So it's like, little 5-minute pockets of time when you can manage it to enjoy your hot cup of tea in the sunshine, or take a few deep breaths, or
and smell
do a few yoga poses. That's right. And I encourage my clients to do that with their oils that they take home. Make it little rituals. Make some little rituals with your blends and things, and that can really help.
Oh, I love that. Oh, beautiful. Well, Sonya, thank you so much. Now, before we finish, where can people find you?
So my aromatherapy company is called Mother Nurture Aromatherapy. My website is mothernurture.net.au.
Awesome.
I am on Facebook and Instagram, Mother Nurture Aromatherapy.
Beautiful.
I'm not the greatest social media person. That's why it's great to have teenage children. But yes, that's and I'm called Mother Nurture because I believe in nurturing mothers especially.
Yes,
and mums to be, and
beautiful. And I actually can see that you also have your own products.
I do. I have a range of products that I make myself, and a lot of those products have sort of just come to fruition over the years. People have requested that they want something for this, and so I'll make something, and a few people have tried it and loved it, and I thought, oh, I'll make this, I'll keep using this, so
Beautiful. And they can get that online?
Yes, they can buy it online, and
awesome.
In Melbourne I practice at Growing Bones in Yarraville, and a clinic called Mama in Kensington. So, and I should just mention to you quickly, if people want to seek out a qualified aromatherapist, who is close to them, if they search IAMA, the International Aromatherapy and Aromatic Medicine Association, bit of a mouthful, but that's the professional association that we belong to, and they'll be able to find a qualified professional aromatherapist near them, or that they can contact for more questions.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Lovely. Well,
Pleasure.
Sonya, I think we've come to an end. Thank you so much once again.
Absolute pleasure.
It's been lovely to meet you. And
Pleasure.
thanks to all our listeners and our audience. We'll
Thank
see
you.
Yeah. See you soon.
Bye.